Welcome back to the Beauty Lab podcast. This is episode 16. I'm your host, Monina, and my co-host, Velia.
Hello.
So today's episode, we're going to be talking about pro secrets to salon hair at home. So Velia, I know this is a question you probably get all the time. I'm sure most salon owners get. But I remember years ago when I was first learning how to use like a round brush and a blow dryer, my hairstylist at the time literally sat me down in front of a mirror and then she showed me how to do it myself. And since then, I've literally just done that over and over again. I'm sure it's not always as good as what she did and what you do in the salon, but is there something you can show us or give us some tips and tricks on how we can possibly achieve that salon look at home?
Welcome to the Beauty Lab podcast, your drive time resource for all things beauty, health, and wellness. We're your hosts and favorite beauty nerds, Monina and Velia.
Join us as we debunk myths, explore the latest trends, and dive deep into the science behind your favorite products. We'll interview industry experts and answer your burning beauty questions in 30 minutes or less.
Yeah, I love that your old stylist did that because I feel like a lot of stylists are just, myself included, just kind of busy talking and we're like in our conversation, we're just going through the motions.
Right.
But the two things I would say in order to get that salon blowout look at home, the two things you have to consider are the products you're using and the process you're using. So yes, my clients do ask me this all the time, like, how come my hair never looks this good when I do it myself, right? And what I usually do is I'll ask them, okay, well, what products are you using? And obviously the clients who've been coming to me for a long time, they kind of have that locked in because we talked a lot about products, and
especially if they're your like regular clientele,
exactly,
right?
Exactly. And so if their products are all like they're using exactly what they should, then the next thing is, okay, well, here's a blow dryer. Show me what you do at home. And that's where it gets scary.
That's where it falls apart.
Yeah, that's where it completely falls apart. Like they're taking a brush and they're like ripping through their hair. They're doing all kinds of weird things. Like it just gets weird. Like I'm like, how did you even come up with this thing to do? Like, I know that like bending your head over like upside down and then blow drying it this way is like kind of what everyone has sort of done for volume and stuff in the past. And there is a way to do that isn't gonna make your hair look crazy afterwards. But most of the time people are bending their heads over and they're taking the blow dryer and they're just like, just randomly shooting the air up, which is number one, like a terrible idea. And I'll explain that a little bit more later. And they're just making their hair look wild.
Okay.
So
technique.
Exactly.
Okay.
So when I say the process, it is the technique that I'm talking about, but it's more than just the technique of holding the blow dryer. It's the whole process of even applying products. So you're not going to get the same results that pros get if you're not doing what the pros do and using what the pros use.
Right. So using the proper tools and then also the technique.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, then on that note, since we're talking about product,
Yeah.
I've heard you say less is more. Do you feel like some people maybe are using too many styling products? Do you feel like they're using not enough? What are the 2 or 3 essentials most people should be using?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I'll do this. I'll break it down into like, this is what everybody should use, and then I'll add a couple little extras. And yes, to answer your question, too many, for sure. A lot of people use way too much of that one product, or they don't use anything, which is another like crazy thing to hear. What do you put in your hair before you blow dry it? Nothing. Oh, okay. Have you ever seen me put nothing in your hair before I blow dry it?
And we're talking like not just your leave-in conditioner, like actual styling.
I'm talking about anything. Like there are a lot of people who don't put anything in their hair. Or they're not using the right hair products for their hair type, right? Or their goals. And speaking of that, I will include in the show notes a guide that I created that will teach you exactly how to figure out what hair products are good for your hair type. It'll also teach you how to figure out your hair type. So that'll be linked in the show notes in case you have no idea what your hair type is or
Great.
what products to even look for.
Yeah, and if you want to look back at a few of our episodes, you do go through that. She does talk about hair types a lot.
I do.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
So for everyone should be using a good professional shampoo and conditioner, with the exception of maybe like, your husband who is bald or something. Like, they still should be using shampoo, but it doesn't have to be like high end,
Yeah.
right? Okay. So shampoo, conditioner is super important. And then after the shower, when your hair is wet, a leave-in conditioner and a hair oil of some kind. So, and those two things are mostly for moisture and just to maintain and lock in that moisture.
So put the oil while the hair is still.
You can put that on when it's wet, and you can also put it on while it's dry. But
Oh.
those are two products that like everybody should have. Now, if you have frizzy hair, let's say you have really stubborn curl that doesn't like blow out really easily, then I think you should add a smoothing cream to the list to put in your hair when it's wet before you blow dry. And if you're looking for something to help with more volume, a mousse or a styling cream that is for volume. Yeah. Aside from those things, like, and maybe hairspray.
Okay.
If you're someone who likes hairspray is a complete optional product. I rarely use hairspray.
Okay.
And then as far as like styling tools, everyone should have a decent blow dryer.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be a $600 blow dryer, just one that doesn't break your shoulder when you're trying to blow dry your hair, and a brush that has like a grippy handle. So if your brush has like a wooden handle and you're struggling to hold on to it while you're blow drying, that's going to cause you a lot of problems, and it's going to be way more frustrating.
Okay.
And then in addition to that, I would say a terry cloth lined waterproof shower cap, which I talk about a lot, and I will also link in the show notes, because it's so important to have one of those to keep your style.
Yeah, so you don't have to keep restyling.
Exactly. And that's one of the things that one of the biggest things that people say when they leave the salon. I won't have to touch my hair now for 3 days, because when you do it, it lasts. So that will definitely help maintain your style and preserve it.
Okay, now going back to the tools, is there any specific things we should look at when purchasing a blow dryer? Because I know you said it doesn't have to be $600
right
Dyson or something, but should it be a certain like amount of heat, like, or does it have to have the cooling option? Like, what would you say?
I'd say most blow dryers do have the cooling button. Yes, to the cooling button. That is important, and I could talk more about that later. But as far as like a specific brand or something, I mean, you can get like a Hot Tools blow dryer at TJ Maxx. Sometimes you find them there for like $50.
Okay.
That is sufficient.
Got it.
You don't have to get anything that has a million attachments, but if you do have frizzy hair, you want to make sure that the blow dryer you get has that little concentrator attachment that looks like a little nozzle almost. Right. And if you have curly hair, you should probably purchase a blow dryer that comes with a diffuser attachment in case you want to use the diffuser attachment.
Got it. Okay. And just so I understand, when people are purchasing their products to put in the hair, does it, because I heard you say certain things like styling cream, oils, does it say on the bottle, will it say, okay, this is mousse for volume, this is a styling cream to use on, with heat? Does it usually like tell you exactly what it's for?
There's definitely tricky marketing that happens a lot.
Yeah, because I get confused.
Yeah,
reading
I know
too. Okay.
Yeah, there's definitely tricky marketing. Listen, if you're listening to this and you don't want to be fooled or bamboozled, just go to my website and try the Velia Beauty Co. products.
Yes.
Because they're extremely straightforward and they're not meant to trick you or, I put on the bottles and in the descriptions and everything exactly what kind of hair type they're for and exactly how to use them. And
yeah, it's so helpful. Because you're right, like when you give me something and I forget what it's for, I just read the bottle. But there are things out there where you're, scouring the aisleways and you're trying to find a styling cream and you're like confused.
I know.
So, okay.
I would say your best bet is to go with professional products. You have a higher chance of being happy with the products. However, a recommendation from somebody who knows your hair, if you are unable to really identify on your own
Good
what
point.
to buy.
Yeah.
So a recommendation, not from your best friend who also has curly hair, because your hair type might be different. The only thing in common you might be that you have curl. And I think, you know, a stylist, if you have a stylist that you trust, like get their recommendation for what products to use. Because there are a lot of products that seem like they'll just say like blow dry cream. And you're like, oh, I blow dry my hair. I need blow dry cream.
That's what I need. It
Exactly.
can get confusing. Okay.
Exactly.
Great. So just to make your life easy,
Yeah.
visit Velia's website. She's very on point as far as what each product is for. And the hair type too, because very few people will list what hair type it's for. So yeah. Very, very helpful. Okay. Was there anything else you wanted to add about products or
No.
tools? Okay.
No, I don't think so.
All right. Okay, well, we really appreciate you guys being here. So before I go on to my next question, I just wanted to remind you that if you enjoy this episode or past episodes, please share, like, even take some time to review, because it really does help the algorithm to push this information out to more people. So really, really appreciate that. My next question is, what tips or tricks can you give us for blow drying? Since this is a perfect segue, we're just talking about blow dryers and things like that. What is your best tip and trick for us at home?
Okay, so this is going to require a lot of visualization.
Okay.
And crazy enough, I just learned something that I had no idea. There's I don't know if it's a condition or if they just put a name on it. I don't want to say condition because that implies that there's something wrong with you. But it's called aphantasia. And 4% of the population has it. And it's the inability to visualize images in your mind. So 4% of people actually, when you're talking to them and you're like, picture this, they can't. Like their brain just doesn't work that way.
So when you talk to me about something and I like create a visual in my brain, they can't do that?
Yes.
Wow.
I know.
Wow. That's news to me. I've never ever heard that. Wow. Okay. Just glambushed.
I glambushed myself when I found that out.
Wow.
I know that was pretty eye-opening. I mean, it's only 4% of people, but
yeah, but still, that's a lot of people.
4 out of 100
that are affected,
right?
Wow.
I know.
Okay, so someone like that definitely needs their stylist to sit and show them how to hold the brush, how to hold the blow dryer.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So if you're in that 4%
Wow.
and this is not helpful because you're only listening,
Right.
I'm sorry. You can reach out and I will send you a video. I'll go through. I'll even do like a Zoom with you or.
Yeah. Oh, that would be great.
Yeah.
Do a Zoom. Yeah, we're both always happy, guys, to do a Zoom with you if you need further instructions. I mean, our backgrounds, we both teach, so we love like educating our clients. So there's no dumb question.
True.
Please reach out anytime.
Right.
But all right. Well, with that said, then, I'm sorry to the 4% that might not get the benefit of this, but yeah, walk us through.
Yeah. Okay. So here is the process that I think works the absolute best with getting the best results. Okay. You wash your hair. Wash your hair twice. Okay. Every time you wash your hair twice. Okay. That way it lasts as long as possible between washes and you don't have to do it every day. You don't have to start over as frequently. Okay. With wet hair, apply your products, assuming you know exactly what you're supposed to use, apply your products on wet hair. Brush it through, and then you're going to take your blow dryer and you're going to, I hate this term, but this is a term that everybody knows, rough dry it.
Okay.
But you're not going to be rough.
Don't be rough. Yeah.
You're going to rough dry it, but you're going to be gentle.
Okay.
And you want to take your blow dryer and you want to hold it over your head, on top of your head, pointing down. The cuticle layer of our hair grows down.
Right.
So if we're blow drying with the air blowing up against the cuticle, we're just creating frizz and tangles and more problems. So, Okay, blow dryer held above your head, pointing down. When you get about 70% of the moisture out, you want it to be damp when you start using a brush. You don't want it to be dry. You're going to section it into 3 sections. Okay. So picture this. You just finished rough drying your hair. You have 3 clips in your hand. You have 3 clips clipped to your shirt or wherever they are. Take the first clip and you're going to start at the top of your head, like right where the sort of like receding part of like your hairline is. And you're going to create what we call a horseshoe.
Right.
Okay. So it's like a U. If you're looking at a bird's eye view, it's like a U shape.
Okay. Yeah, that's your part.
That's your first part.
Okay.
So the reason we don't want to create parts, like parting it down the center and like 4 equal parts or whatever, is because everywhere there's a part, that when that part starts drying, you're going to have a hell of a time trying to make the hair not always part there.
Okay.
So we want those horseshoe sections. Those are the best if you can do it. And I know you can. So first horseshoe section, again, by where like the receding sort of, it's not receding, but it's, you know how it is. It's a little thinner.
Yeah.
Okay. Horseshoe section number 1. Clip it up, like make a little, not super tight, make a little bun and clip it. The next section is going to be like right behind your ears or even like the top of your ears. Same thing, horseshoe from one side to the other. Take that section, wrap it up, like twist it and clip it right on top of that little section that first section that you just made. And then the bottom section, you're going to leave that down because that's where you're going to start. Okay, so now you're like, why did I need 3 clips? The third clip you're going to use when you need it. Within those, as you need it. So you start with the bottom section and make sure that you're blow drying each section 100% dry before you move on to the next section. And a lot of times when your hair is hot, it feels like it's dry.
Yeah.
And then you move on to the next section and you're like, oh man, that's actually not completely dry. It's like
a little
98% dry. 98% dry is going to ruin your hairstyle. 100% dry is going to give you a happy day.
Got it.
Okay.
So that's probably the first mistake most people make.
Definitely.
They don't dry it all the way.
Yeah. Because it's a really easy mistake. And you can justify it while you're struggling, with managing a blow dryer and a brush. Like, you're like, oh, it's good enough. Listen, take those extra 20 seconds and go over that section 1 or 2 more times because that 2% extra dry is going to change your entire next 3 days of your hair life,
Okay.
And you do that as soon as then you take your next section down and you just repeat.
Yeah.
As far as, what direction to hold the brush and all of that kind of stuff, that's a hard one to kind of tell you in this episode because
depends on what
exactly. But if you're looking to achieve like a lot of volume, think about it this way. The direction that your hair grows, we want to pull the hair away from the direction that it grows in order to achieve the volume. So I'm trying to describe this without using my hands. I need to just put my hands down.
It's okay.
So if you're on the bottom section, you're going to be pulling, you're not just going to be taking the brush and going straight down with it. You're going to be pulling it up and then back down.
Oh, like doing an arch.
Like basically, like
creating an arch. Okay.
And then as you get to the top, same thing. You can, depending on which direction you blow dry it, just go away from the way it grows and then back.
Got it. Just creating like little arches all the way through. Okay.
We call it over directing.
Got it.
But you don't need to know that.
It's
just a technical term.
Okay.
And then if you want, so what we mentioned the cooling button earlier on the blow dryer. So the cooling button, I always joke around, it's not just for like when you start sweating to like cool yourself off. It's when you have your hair wrapped up in a round brush and it's 100% dry and you want to keep that shape.
Yes.
You hit it with the cooling button. So make sure that the cooling button is actually like, how to use it. So it's actually blowing out cold air like the whole time you think it's blowing out cold air because you don't want to hold hot air on the section accidentally. So hold the cooling button down on that section with the round brush. And basically what that's doing is it's cooling the hair in the shape of the brush. So when you let it down, it's still in that curl shape. Your hair is going to stay in the shape that it is when it's cool. So if you let it down when it's hot, as it's cooling, it's loosening up and it's straightening out. And then it's going to straighten out until it cools off.
Right.
So if you cool it off while it's curled, it'll stay more curled and it'll give you more volume and balance and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, and I've also, this is what I've done is, you know me, I love my Velcro rollers.
Oh yeah, you love them rollers.
So I'll put the Velcro rollers in, that way it can just hold the shape while it's cooling and I move on to the next section.
Exactly, and you can totally use Velcro rollers if you're good with those at home. And you feel like they're not going to get in the way of the next section, or
you can pin it up,
or you can use a little clip, where you basically drop the section down, and then you use your fingers and you roll it back up, and then you clip it at the root.
Right. That way you're allowing that 100% hot hair to cool into that shape.
Exactly.
Perfect.
Those, I feel like if you do those things, you're gonna be, time, just like with cooking, time is an ingredient.
Yeah.
So give yourself time.
Absolutely.
And this does, I promise you, this gets so much easier and you'll get so much faster. If you're like, okay, that sounds like it's going to take me an hour. It might.
Yeah.
The first time.
In the beginning.
Yeah, it might.
Time,
But imagine that hour, the first time you blow dry, and then the next couple of days, you don't have to do anything to it.
Right.
At all.
It's an investment in the next couple of days.
Exactly.
All right. Well, gosh, that was great. I hope that was helpful, you guys. And even if you're not watching this, because I know she's trying to describe it without using her hands. But yeah, if you have other questions or maybe you want Velia to explain something further, please reach out or comment. You can always reach us on our Instagram and leave a message there as well. I want to pull a question from one of our listeners. And the question's from Maddie from Berkeley. And her question is, this is so funny because I have the same question, with my bangs. So she says, why do my bangs always split down the middle and how do I fix that? Thank you, Maddie.
Yeah, Maddie, you know what?
Too.
Actually, Maddie, thank you for bringing that up because one thing I did forget to mention is if you have bangs, you want to start your blow dry with your bangs first. And you can rough dry your bangs a little bit, but this is how, okay? So from soaking wet, bangs are the thing that are going to just, more so than anything else, do whatever they want.
It has its own brain.
Exactly. So you want the most control you're ever going to get is when your bangs are soaking wet. That goes with all of your hair, by the way. So if they're splitting down the middle, my guess is you have obviously a really strong part down the middle of your hair, probably because you part your hair down the middle, and maybe the bangs are new, but maybe not. Let's just assume they're not. So when your bangs are super wet, if you're already blow drying your hair with your bangs super wet and you're still getting that part down the middle, you're going to take the blow dryer and you're going to blow dry all of the bangs to the left. Then you're going to go to the other side, blow dry them all the bangs to the right, just to kind of like loosen up the growth pattern, because sometimes it's like so strong and it's very stubborn. And then you're going to, when you've done the left and the right and you're moving it around and now your hair is like confused, that's when you go straight down and then you use your round brush and go straight down. Or I'm assuming your bangs are probably not, if they're curtain bangs, you probably don't care that they're splitting down the middle. But
or maybe a cowlick.
Totally, everyone has cowlicks around their hairline. Yeah, I mean that's most likely. So if your cowlick is right in the center, which is not super common, but if your cowlick is right in the center, try what I just suggested, and if that still doesn't help you, send me a picture of your bangs and I'll dissect the problem and see what we can do, because sometimes you do have a challenging bang area because of the growth pattern is so strong and stubborn.
Or it's new, like you say, because you just cut my hair last week, so I think maybe that's what's going on.
Yeah. But the trick is from soaking wet. That's when you want to start telling your bangs who's boss.
Got it.
Yep.
All right. Well, great. Awesome. This was so good. I always learn so much. All right, well, that's all the time we have today. Thank you again so much for joining us every week. We really appreciate you guys coming on here and also leaving us questions.
Yes.
Please leave us questions. And again, please share, like, subscribe. I'm Monina.
I'm Velia.
Until next time,
Keep experimenting with your beauty routine.